Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Friday to each and every one of you watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, anywhere in the world you can watch a podcast. Welcome to the Let's Go Devils Game Day Live. My name is Vinnie Parise, and I am here with a very special guest. Clearly, I don't do the intro as good as Sam Wu does, but we get it done either way. It's
no one can.
Short Sky. How we doing?
Doing great, Vinny. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You know, first of all, I didn't get to say this to you when we did the Game Day Live last weekend for the $500,000 or $500,000. I wish $500,000
yeah, right.
Party. Nice hair, man. Nice hair.
Thank you. So, basically, the school I work at, I was approached with the opportunity or a proposal if I would allow the kids to fundraise and pick the color hair that I wanted and then go get it permanently dyed. And it was a no-brainer for me to say, absolutely. Will I take permission to dye my hair some stupid color in the middle of the year? And it turned out to be red. So I was very happy with it. And it's very fitting for us in the podcast and a bunch of other things. But yeah, man, thank you. It's been it's been a great change in my life.
Was it hard to do? Because I want to dye my hair red for a playoff run now. You're inspiring me. When they make the playoffs, I'm saying when. Dang it. I'm saying when now. When they make the playoffs, maybe I'll dye my hair red and keep it till they either win the cup or get bounced, whichever comes first.
Well, there you go. It was easy because I paid someone to do it.
Oh, okay.
I went and got it actually done by my regular girl that cuts my hair. So it was easy. It was about a 2-hour experience, but I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Outstanding. Well, been a lot of crazy news going on. Since me and you last spoke, the Devils traded for Timo Meier. And we were talking about what are they going to give up to get him last time we were on, and Nick Villano was going off about 6 prospects or whatever it was that, you know, was coming out of your guys' mouth there on Saturday night last week. There was some good stuff. But they ended up getting it done. And today they traded for Curtis Lazar. So in the last 7 days or so, the Devils have added a stud muffin top 6 forward that already has 31 goals. And they added a pretty solid bottom 6 forward that is like a little ball of energy. What's your takeaway?
The Timo Meier deal, as much as I hated to see Muhammad Doolin go out west, you were going to have to give something to get something. That was without a doubt. I'll tell you what, it was interesting going through the litany of players that came and went and this and that. I'm happy we got it done. I don't think that we gave up too much for it, which is what I was a little bit fearful of. And it'll be good to see him when he finally suits up for the Devils. I don't believe it's tonight. I think they said he's definitely scratched tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully, it'll be Sunday. But if not, it'll my hope is Tuesday for when he's home for the first time at the Rock. So I'm happy with it. I just want to make sure that we're able to re-sign him for a reasonable amount. That's the only bit of trepidation I have, is just him re-signing for a reasonable amount and not something stupid like what Pastrnak got or what, anything like that. As far as Lazar, I got the alert when I was at work today. I'm like, we made another trade? My honest reaction at first was, who the hell is this guy? But then I started, reading some things, and we were talking back and forth. One of our group chats. He seems like he's just going to be that depth forward that's able to kind of just throw his body around and maybe be that beef up front that we've been looking for.
Woo!
So, there you go. Sammy loves it. So.
And when you bring up beef, you're getting the woo. A couple years ago, they had a goalie in Ottawa named Andrew Hammond. And as everybody knows, he's the Hamburglar. They throw cheeseburgers on the ice. Curtis Lazar picks one up and eats it. And it goes viral on the Twitter web. And I'm like, I love that guy. Fast forward all these years later, a year after the Devils trade for Hammond to start a couple games for them, They get
Yep.
this guy who's crazy enough to pick up random cheeseburgers and eat them. My brother Joey Parise, Sam met Joey Parise, big Bruins fan. Lazar was on the Bruins last year, and he told me, dude, you're
Mhm.
going to love this guy. He's like a little ball of energy. He skates around and he's
Perfect.
crazy, and, he's not going to score a crap ton of goals, but, like, I told Sam Wu on the Wu Report earlier today as a guest, I was like, the Devils kind of send a message trading for the whole Curtis Lazar experience because they're bringing in a guy who doesn't need to score goals. And they're telling the league, yeah, we'll trade for a guy who's a ball of energy and can play good defense and, bring it in the locker room. We got Timo Meier. We got Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, all these guys that can score goals. Not a problem for us. Let's bring in Curtis Lazar. I love the move.
Yeah, I think after I got over that initial shock of who the hell is this guy, starting looking into it and seeing that video of him eating the random cheeseburger from the rink, and as Sam Wu just said in our group chat, the 5-second rule applies. I was happy with the trade, and I think it'll be good. And it was kind of a good way to. It was a good way for the Devils to finish up trade deadline day by bringing in someone, like you're saying, like a ball of energy that may just come around, throw his body around, be that X factor that we've been sort of missing on this team. And it's my hope is it's going to be one of those moves that we'll look back on and go, damn, that was the right piece to bring in, or maybe that was like the last piece we needed, just to push us over the edge. So we'll see. Time will tell. He could be a flop. Yeah, you never know, but you definitely need those spark plug guys. You just basically tell them, hey, go out there and cause some trouble, and that could spark your team. That could turn your team around and at any point in the game. So it'll be good to have that. And kind of going back to the Timo Meier trade, there was one point when there was that odd period where we knew the trade happened. We didn't know what it was, and someone had put out a tweet that saying that Dawson Mercer is a part of this trade in capital letters IS. That would have been my biggest nightmare for that trade, getting rid of Dawson Mercer. I think Dawson Mercer is proving his value in spades this season. He has the new record that he took from Scotty Gomez, and I think he's going to be huge for us. So, and I think my power just blinked. So I really hope that I don't run into any power issues here.
I heard you guys were getting a storm. I don't know if that ended up coming to fruition because we were told we were getting a storm and we didn't get one.
Yeah, so it just started. I was out earlier today, this evening, and I got back just as it was starting to change over from the rain to the sleet, and yeah, so we are going to get something. I'm in that area of North Jersey where I'm like right above the freezing line. So who the hell knows what's going to show up in my backyard? But I don't have to get up. I have a hockey game at 11 tomorrow morning, so I don't have to worry about doing anything until about 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we like you a lot, so make sure you stay safe.
I shall.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and then we can move off trade deadline and start talking Golden Knights. Curtis Lazar does have a series clinching overtime winning goal in his career. He eliminated the Bruins with an overtime goal in 2017, I want to say it was. It was whenever Ottawa made that crazy run to play the Penguins. Does a guy like that, you have that kind of experience, okay? You have Dougie Hamilton, who's been in the Stanley Cup final with the Bruins and made deep playoff runs with Carolina and whatnot. Eric Hall has been in the Stanley Cup final with Vegas and a couple others with, Minnesota and the Bruins and Carolina as well. There are some players on this team who have made deep runs. So everybody, the Devils, they're a young team. Obviously, they're all their best players. Most of them, except for Hamilton, all the 5 best players are 26 or younger. But they got guys on this team with playoff experience. Do you kind of worry about the whole experience thing when people are talking about them going into a series against the Rangers or potentially Carolina? If they win the division, they'll have to play Pittsburgh, and we know about their playoff experience, even though they might be a weaker team. What's your take on all that?
All right, so I do believe that experience is a key thing as far as leadership is concerned in the playoffs, because there's regular season hockey and then there's playoff hockey. And you almost have to – it's like a different mindset when you get to playoff hockey, which is why the Devils used to traditionally, with Lou Lamoriello, he used to put them into a hotel for for the duration of the playoffs, just to give them that kind of road mentality, but also to give them just that they can focus on just the playoffs. I think having guys with playoff experience will help the younger guys who have never been in the playoffs kind of steer them into, this is the mentality you need for the playoffs, because it's not like the regular season. You lose a game or two in the regular season, yeah, you got plenty of games that you can stop that skid. You lose the first 2 games of a series, you need to change that attitude immediately. And that's where that playoff experience will come in, is being able to change that attitude immediately if things don't go right in the beginning, or if things if things switch at some point during the playoffs. So to me, that experience is great. And not for nothing, a guy like Lazar is the type of guy that would score an overtime game winner, because in those overtime games in the playoffs, it's anybody's game as far as scoring those goals. Usually, if the goal's not scored in the first half of the first period of overtime, it's probably going to be something ugly, either at the end of a period or at the beginning. And it's a lot of times, it's not the guys you expect, because they're the ones that haven't had a lot of ice time, but have more energy than some of the rest.
Absolutely. And as our old announcer and former, national announcer, Doc Emmerich, would say, when a playoff hockey game goes to overtime, it's a long way from being over, but it could end at any minute. And so with a guy like Lazar in the lineup, you're at an advantage. We got some people arguing in the chat over Lazar and whatnot. People like, he's got 1 goal in the playoffs, but it was an overtime, a series-winning goal. I mean, those types of things are important.
That's all you
One
need.
thing I'll say, yeah, and guess what? He was on teams that won when they got to the playoffs. And
yeah, so
only Hischier, Haula, and McLeod have a higher face-off winning percentage on the team than him.
I saw that.
And Bruce Boudreau, who was his coach earlier this season till he was fired, weird.
Unceremoniously.
Yeah, exactly. And he said he's a good role player. He's a good depth player. He prefers him on right wing, but he wins all sorts of face-offs. So you can have him play center until the puck is dropped. Then he's over to, right wing once the game's actually going. But, you can't just look at goals and assists. You have to look at other things that players bring to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the goals are what get the highlights. The goals are what everyone sees, but it's those off the puck plays, those it's the pass before the pass before the pass, or the hit before the turnover. Those are really the things that'll win you a hockey game, especially in an overtime situation. It's not all about offense. You got to look at all those defensive plays and all those neutral zone incidents, whatever you want to call them, the neutral zone plays. There's so much more to the game than just those highlight reel goals.
Think about it this way. Do you believe 32 out of 32 GMs in the NHL would rather have Nico Hischier than Cole Caulfield? Because I wholeheartedly think all 32 GMs would rather have Hischier than Caulfield. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, Caulfield's going to have more goals in his career. He's a sniper. Mm-hmm. But Nico Hischier, he'll probably have more assists, way better at faceoffs, way better defensively, literally does everything well. He's just not elite at one thing. And that's why, he's an insane number 1 center on a really good team.
Yeah, he's a total hockey player. And that's what you want. You want a total hockey player, because that's the thing. You want that sniper for your team, don't get me wrong. But having a collection of total hockey players will win you more games than having a couple snipers and maybe 1 or 2, guys that are complete players. So really, that's where what you want. You want a player like Nico Hischier. And yeah, I think that 32 out of 32, maybe just to kind of throw it out there, 31 out of 32 would probably want Nico Hischier more than Cole Caulfield, because there's going to be someone that's just like, I want offense, I want goals. So 31 out of 32. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, it'd probably be the Rangers. Based on the
That's exactly who I was. It's exactly who I was thinking of.
I mean, they traded for Patrick Kane, and when Keandre Miller gets suspended for hawking a loogie in someone's face, they have to go 11-5 because they don't have the salary cap to replace, or 12-5 because they don't have the salary cap room to replace Miller.
Yeah.
But, on to other things. The Vegas Golden Knights are hosting our New Jersey Devils tonight. Vegas is one of the very best teams in the Western Conference, and I don't think anybody
They
debates that.
are.
They have a legit chance to have the best record of any team in the regular season, thus home ice throughout the playoffs. They could win the Pacific Division. It's going to be a battle. They got a lot, to do in these last 20 games or so, however many they have left. One Jack Eichel has been one of the best players in the NHL over the last couple weeks, and he's really starting to look comfortable wearing number 9 for Vegas. He was one of the best players in the world before getting his injury, his crazy surgery that he had last year that led to him being traded. What's your take on Vegas and what they present in terms of difficulty for the Devils?
Well, Vegas is like you said, they're a very good team. They're a very strong team, especially, one of the top teams in the league. As we saw with the Colorado game, the Devils can almost outshoot and outscore a top team in the league. So I'm hoping they don't have to do that tonight. But also let's not forget Vegas has a great home atmosphere. Aside from being a great team, although I did see them lose to the Coyotes in person out there in Arizona this year. Aside from being a great team, one of their questions up until what was it yesterday? And still a little bit is goaltending. They don't have a strong goaltender right now, if you don't count Jonathan Quick, because they've, Thompson's been out, Robin Leonard's out, so they're kind of doing goalie by committee almost over there in Vegas, but they're still able to get the victories. Strong team all around, and their home atmosphere is great, so it's going to be a tough place for the Devils going to play. But again, the Devils need to take these games and they need to kind of shut all that out. And if we want to be successful in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter who we play. We have to go out and play them strong. But, Vegas is being one of the top teams in the league. It should be a really good game. I'm hoping that it's not too tough a game for the Devils coming off. That was a shootout in Colorado. So we'll see how they react.
That doesn't worry you, right? Like some people are like, oh, Vitek Vanacek in his last 3 games, but he's 2-1-0. The Devils score a lot of goals. They've got 7 goals in each of their last 2 games. I'm kind of expecting them to score a little bit here tonight. I know Vegas can be suffocating if they get a lead, so I would appreciate a lead from the Devils early in the game. But like it's Colorado, man. Like JT Compher is like a really good role player, and he came down and scored a sick goal. We know what Nate Dogg can do. He scored 2 amazing goals using his speed. Mikko Rantanen is out there making sick plays, and Valeri Nichushkin is looking like Valeri Nichushkin again. Like Colorado's awesome. The fact that they came back in the game, it didn't worry me. It was just one of those things. Like if you're the Devils, you got to find a way to stop the bleeding. Bend, don't break against Colorado. You have to bend, don't break in the playoffs. That's just how it works against these elite teams. It's not going to be you rolling over Philly every single night once the playoffs start. So I thought that game against the Avalanche proved that the Devils can find a way to win track meet games like that.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to see out, especially out of this young Devils team, is find a way to get the victory. I was not thrilled with the way Vanacek, was playing in that game. I think him getting pulled is good. Reason being is sometimes that really, as a goalie, sometimes that will really kind of level you out and kind of check your attitude a little bit, and it'll give you that fire to be like, yeah, well, I got pulled last time. I'm not getting pulled again. The other side to the coin with him being pulled is Schmid went in and played phenomenally. And I'm going to be honest, I really prefer Akira Schmid as our backup to Blackwood, because Akira Schmid has shown throughout the season consistently that he can go into a game at any point in the game. He can start it. He can go into it at any point as the backup and play awesome. And basically win you the game if you need it. I can't remember who it was earlier in the season back in November where he was put into a losing game and the Devils came back to win it. I can't remember who he did it against, but that to me, I want to see better from Vanacek. But I think that having the confidence of having Akira Schmid in the background is phenomenal.
Calgary and Edmonton stick out in my head. I think it was one of the Alberta games in Alberta.
No, it was a home game, I believe.
It was a home game?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me look.
I don't know.
Let me see if I can look back. Anyway.
Yeah, you could probably figure it out. But yeah, I like when the Devils play a team like Vegas, they're using, I think Aiden Hill is starting. Is that who I saw was starting for Vegas? I could triple check that really quick while we discuss their lineup. But, They got Wild Bill Carlson. Depth. He's basically a depth player. Then if you got a player that good as a depth player, Riley Smith, game-winning goal against Carolina, who they just beat last week, did the Devils a favor. I mean, this is a really good Vegas team, so the Devils are really going to have to bring everything that they can in order to get this win. And I'm quite excited about it, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be a really good test for the Devils. They've been on a little bit of a heater here. They're looking to win their 4th in a row. And I think with that, it is a good time to get to our predictions portion of the show. I would like each and every person watching this show to, in the YouTube comments right now, or any of the comments, throw your prediction. I'll read a couple of them off on air. One Shorts guy gives his prediction. And if Sam Wu could kindly throw his in the chat, I would appreciate that as well.
That would be great. So I am awful at predicting. I don't think I've been close. I think maybe once it was close. Let's see.
I got Devils, one right. We're on game 61.
All right, You're good. Fine. So I'm in good company. Do we know who our starting goalie is tonight?
I believe it is Vitek Vanacek.
Okay. So we got Vanacek going, a little bit of a redemption game. I'll say 4-1 Devils. Vitek plays huge tonight. He's going to make at least one key save at some key juncture because when he's on, that's what he tends to do. 4-1 Devils tonight over the Vegas Golden Knights.
I love to hear that. I was just looking at Amanda Stein's Twitter looking for confirmation on the goalie. Obviously, we'll know for sure in a couple of minutes when they hit the ice for warm-ups in 2.5 minutes. But I came across a tweet that I missed. I heard him say it, but I didn't see her tweet it. Tom Fitzgerald noted today that when the University of Michigan season is over, Luke Hughes will join the New Jersey Devils. That is exciting to see.
Yeah.
And I believe the national championship, let's say they go all the way to the national championship. There's a little note for Devils fans. The Devils would have 2 games left after that. So even if they go all the way, Luke can get into 2 games against Buffalo and Washington to end the season. So I think that would be really, really fun, and maybe he could be this year's McAvoy. We'll see. My prediction for tonight's game is that the Devils are going to beat Vegas by a final score of 4-2. It's a tight game, 3-2, and then you hit an empty netter late. That's the recipe to taking care of a team like Vegas. So I'll look into the chat. First of all, Sam Wu says 5-4 Devils. He thinks it's going to be a little closer to what went on last game where there was lots of scoring, which...
No, I hope not. I mean, I hope we score, but not the opposition.
Yeah, so Sam says Schmid is starting. Schmid. So...
Ooh.
That's a little interesting, actually.
You know what? I'm still going to go... All right, yeah. Even if it's Schmid, I'm still going to go 4-1 Devils because I just think Akira Schmid plays very well. And,
you know what?
I trust him. I trust him so much more as our backup than Blackwood, and I had such high hopes for Blackwood, especially because him and I share the same number here. But I had such high hopes for him. However, I don't think he's hit that level that he can hit because we see it in flashes. And then it goes away. And we're like, who the hell is this goalie that just made this boneheaded play? But then he'll back it up with like a bunch of breakaway saves in a row. But Akira Schmid just seems to be just a solid goalie, front to back, start to finish.
Absolutely. And he seems a little extra motivated these days, too. I mean, they have Hischier, Meyer, Siegenthaler. Like, the Swiss national team wants to play for the Devils. Let them. You know, if you're the goalie, you got to play well enough to earn that spot. But if that added some kind of, an element of motivation to Akira Schmid, I'm cool with it. But we got Steve Engel in the chat, 4-2 Knights. So, Ted says 5-4 Devils. Dave Singer says Devils 4-3 in overtime. Felix says 5-3 Devils. Joseph says 5-1 Devils. Paul says 3-2 Devils. R. Nunez, Vegas 4, Devils 3. Bill, Knights 4-3. Steve Engel, Knights 4-2. Select a something, 5-3 Devils. The Insane Pollock, 4-3 Devils. We got another prediction. Someone says Mercer, 8 games in a row. If he scores a goal, it'll be 8 games in a row.
I want to see that.
I want to see it too. It will be a Devils record, and it will be a season-long record of any player in the NHL. I believe McDavid, Draisaitl, and it might have been Pasternak. One of them also has a 7-game goal streak, or was it 6? I don't even remember. There's a lot of stats that go with that.
There was a bunch of players. I saw a quick stat or a quick infographic that there was a bunch of players with 7, but no one has 8. So
yeah,
it's almost we're right back to where we were with Bratt earlier in the season. Now we have it, here with Dawson Mercer. Imagine if all these players could be scoring all at the same time.
You hope it comes
getting this type of. Oh my gosh, getting this type of production from everyone on the team at the same time would be phenomenal. And that in late April would just make my day big time.
Yeah, I agree. The addition of Meier to the lineup, I think helps Bratt get back to that level, because I believe of every player on the team that can truly drive their own line, it's probably Hughes, Hischier, and Mercer, the guys who are natural centermen. And then Bratt, Meier, Sharangovich, all these guys are outstanding wingers. So you can slot them in different spots. When you add a guy like Meier, it might take some of the – Hischier might see different opponent defensive alignments or whatever when they're on the road. I don't know. Things can open up all over the place when you add a guy like that. And I don't know. I like all sorts of things could go right with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, players are going to – or not players. Well, I guess players and teams and coaches are going to start focusing on Timo Meier a lot. And we have a lot of great secondary scoring players in our top 6, and this is going to open somebody up to where we're going to start seeing some production or continued production from somebody.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you saw this, and then we could wrap up the show, of course, because I know we're pushing a half hour here, but I like to talk. The Devils have 5 30 or 20 goal scorers on the team, and that ties Buffalo for the most in the NHL. And there's a very good chance they end up with 7, and I would venture to guess Buffalo doesn't end up with 7 because their guys in 6 and 7 spot right now aren't necessarily close. But now this says, the Devils can end up with 7. If Tatar gets on a little bit of a run here and scores 6 goals in the last 20 games, I think that's absolutely possible. And then Dougie Hamilton needs 2 more. Dougie Hamilton needs 2 more. So this team, I would say it's likely for Hamilton. He could have 20 by the end of tonight, if he has a solid Dougie Hamilton game.
Jeez, it's possible, yeah. That's so wild for what we've gone through in the last couple of years. But even thinking back into the, to some of the more classic Devil teams, that we were such a defensive team, and to have that many 20 goal scorers. Jack is 3 or 4 away from 40 at this point. Timo Meier can hit 40. He's 4 away.
Meier's got to hit 40.
Still, it's like I'm still used to those late 90s, early 2000 teams that I grew up watching that was just defense, and you just had scoring by committee. Man, offense on the Devils just feels weird, but it's great. I love it still.
Yeah, I love it too. I mean, there are lots of different ways to be good in the NHL. Like the Devils, they don't have maybe as many 10 goal scorers as a team like the Bruins or the Leafs or whatever. Like the Bruins have 2 20 goal scorers and they have 101 points. So there are all sorts of different ways to build a really good team. I think the Devils, they're showing how they want to win, and they're fast and using their speed. And, the trade for Curtis Lazar is like a kind of example. Like, hey, who do we want our 12th, 13th forward to be? A guy who's fast and crazy out there. Like, it's just an up-tempo team. And, I'm excited about it. So, hey.
We have so much to be excited and look forward to. This is the most exciting March into April that we've had in the years that we didn't have the first overall pick. Like, I'm just so happy that we're not talking about the draft lottery and that we're talking about the playoffs and this team that we have moving forward, which should be, fingers crossed, enough to convince Timo Meier to sign for a really reasonable rate. Be like, look at what we have, look at where we're going. And this is just such a team with such a bright future. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, Shorts Guy, I can't thank you enough for coming on our show tonight. It's been an absolute blast. I love having you on this show. You are a Game Day Live co-host in my eyes.
Sweet.
I
love
hope you
coming
are in
on
your
when I
own
can.
heads as well. Yeah, absolutely. So I hope everybody enjoys the game tonight. Remember, the podcast will be uploaded in a couple minutes, and you could listen to it at your leisure afterwards. Let's go Devils. I hope they get this huge win over Vegas, and then you go into a weaker team on Sunday in the Arizona Coyotes. Anything can happen, but we'll see what happens. Make sure you're following along on Twitter at Let's Go Devils Pod. My name is Vinnie Parise for Shorts Guy. As always, to quote the great Sam Wu, let's go Devils.